guys, welcome back to the Leadership Detectives. Good to talk to you again here today. I hope you're well as we all sit here at the end of Feb, beginning of March, and certainly in the UK, great news on how we'll be released from lockdown and we can all get back to whatever the new normal is. So let's hope things are going to go well for us as we go forward. Today, what Neil and I want to talk to you about is some personal and career development processes or techniques, both for your employees and for you. We want to talk to you about mentorship and about coaching. Mentorship is a senior-junior relationship where it's about the mentee's growth, their learning, their career development, and it's normally with a mentor who's an experienced, proven expert. So that's one of the things we're going to go through. The other one is about coaching. And coaching is a process that aims to improve your performance, your focus, and it's here in the current. A coach is a facilitator. They're not expected to be the master of the craft, but they're to help you to be able to grow and develop and do better at what you're doing today. The target beneficiary for both of these is actually the subject individual. But the huge success of this is based on the skills and the experience of both the mentor or the coach, as well as the motivation and the focus of the person who's actually benefiting from the process. So Neil and I have crammed on some of our views into the next 30 minutes. We hope it adds value for you. We hope you enjoy, and all the best with your careers and your personal development going forward and that of your teams.
So welcome everyone to another episode of the Leadership Detectives, episode 37, and we're delighted to be back with you, helping uncover some of the secrets and clues of great leadership. And good morning, Albert. How are you?
I'm good. I'm not bad at all. Good to see you here. So we're midweek at the moment, but it feels like it's a Friday, Neil, because there's been so much going on, right? It's a pretty hectic time.
It's been absolutely crazy this week. I think the announcement on Monday night where we're learning about how we're going to get out of lockdown and stuff has just brought energy into everybody I'm talking to.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think there's been a lot of situations where people might have been holding back, waiting for the starter's gun. And even though he hasn't fired the gun, they believe that he has. Because just knowing that the gun's about to be fired and hearing what's coming means people have just kicked into act, which is great because we want people thinking ahead and planning, right? So that's fine.
No, exactly. And I want to compliment you on your uniform today. We seem to have, the first time ever, got shirts that match it. I've even got a Tommy.
Other brands are available.
Which my whole family is crazy on Tommy Hilfiger stuff, and they bought me a shirt to wear.
Yeah, but you told me you were taking the tag off of yours. I didn't take the tag off of mine. It came from Turkey Market, so it's not quite the same.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay, all right. Yeah. Okay. Crikey, I remember when we were teenagers and you used to go to Wembley Market buying, knocked off branded clothing.
Anyway, we just revealed one of the differences between you and me.
Yeah. So look, the topic today, really great topic, close to my heart and your heart, I know, because we've leveraged this a lot over the years. So we're going to talk today about the importance of leaders having mentors and or coaches.
Yeah.
So let's start off. When we talk about mentors and coaches, what's the difference? In your view, what's the difference between a mentor and a coach?
Mentorship for me would be, and I've used it a lot over the years, right? And when you work in a major corporate, you get opportunity for that. So mentorship for me was about an experienced, probably senior person, but an experienced senior person sharing with you their experience, their understanding, their learning, and trying to apply that to something you've taken to them as a challenge. Typically, I think mentorship does get directed towards somebody trying to progress their career, right? Whether you're trying to understand, but it could also be that you've just taken over the business and you're there going, wow, how do I go with this? So it's just sharing experience. That's how I would.
Yeah, so mentorship is more kind of technical. So the person you're talking to has got experience in there. It could be a technician actually mentoring an apprentice.
Yeah. So as a really good coach, give us your thoughts on coaching.
The difference. So with coaching is more about helping the person uncover a way forward to a situation they've got. That might be a business situation, it might be a personal situation, and it's using coaching models and techniques to help them do that. And my take on so mentoring, there's quite a lot of tell. So you're helping with questions to understand the problem, but then there's tell. Mm-hmm. Coaching is a lot more questioning, and the coachee doing a lot of the work to understand.
Okay.
And what I try and do personally when I'm coaching is I mentor with a coaching style. So I try and bring the two together.
Yeah.
But let's just talk about, what's your experience of being mentored? Where did it work really well for you, and why would you recommend someone searches for a mentor?
Two areas where it's worked well, and I think I just touched on them there, guys. One was about running the business. So I'd taken over a business. I had responsibility for over 1,000 people in total with a leadership team. And there you are, you didn't have it on the Friday, you do have it on the Monday, and you kind of go, oh, wow, where do I start with this? So being able to talk to somebody about how would you approach this, right? What do I do to, first of all, you go in and find your own way, and then you've got all this mess in front of you and you're trying to work out what you're going to do. So somebody to be able to describe how they did it. By the way, the fact they did it that way doesn't mean that's the only way, but it shows you, first of all, it gives you some confidence that there is a way forward. And you hear from somebody about how they approached it. So that was good when I first took over the business. And by the way, it wasn't a disciplined mentoring at that point in time. It was taking advice from two senior people, and I then picked up a formal mentoring relationship going forward after that.
So were they the mentors in your line of business then?
They were in my line of business. They could benefit from the fact that I got things right. They could be victims of me getting it wrong. So they had a vested interest.
Okay.
I don't think that's what their interest was. I think their interest was much more about wanting to share their experience and knowledge.
Because if you look at mentoring programs, best practice is normally that your mentor is not in your line of business.
Yeah, true. Very true. Because them having a vested interest isn't always best. I was a mentor myself, by the way, to many people, from graduates right through to first line managers to second line managers, right? And that was the same thing. That was simply me sharing my experience. How did I deal with the thing that you just told me you need some help with? But you can decide whether there's a better way. So there was a big difference there between how you might have coached somebody in that and how you might have shared your experience of solving that same situation.
Yeah, and what benefits did you see, or do you think people see, from having a formal mentor?
A real benefit, by the way, provided you don't abuse it, is knowing you've got someone to lean on, right? So you don't always have to call on it, but you know it's there. So you could try fixing this, but you would never be in that place that when I'm alone here and I really don't know what I'm going to do, to be able to drop an email out or an instant message and saying, look, can I just grab 10, 15 minutes? That comfort blanket was good to have, even though you may never have called upon it, but it helped you. But it was good that you could go there. Imagine you had an urgent situation, you have to get a fix for this. At least you know there was somebody you could call upon.
Yeah, and I think my experience of encouraging people to find mentors, because personally I wasn't great at using the formal mentoring program when I was in a large corporate. But when I work with people in corporates, and we'll come back to small businesses or smaller businesses in a minute.
Yeah.
When I've been working with people in corporate, the value that they see is they don't know what they don't know about managing their career, about how to handle some of the politics in the business. And so to have someone who's outside of your line of business that you can just go and talk to and try and learn from has been I've seen that being incredibly valuable in helping people grow and overcome some of those frustrations and roadblocks that might be in the way.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. You just triggered my mind on something as well, Neil. The other thing is they're not in the woods with you. So they're able to stand back and see things a little bit different from the way you're seeing it, because you're caught up in this thing. Your brain's got all caught in it. they're able to kind of stand back and go, actually, let me just tell you how I would probably have handled that, or I could handle that, especially when you come to a career conversation.
Yeah.
A career conversation is a great one, right? How am I going to get my next promotion? Well, there's quite a lot to that in terms of delivering value, getting the right stakeholders in place, making sure that you're proving that you have got longevity and that you've got potential for the future and all of those good things. And they help you kind of think that through.
Yeah. And I think, mentoring is definitely something where you want someone who has a good track record in delivering what you're trying to achieve, whether that's managing their career in a certain way or managing a certain business in a certain way. And when you look at smaller businesses, so, for instance, I know, I personally work with people as mentors to sales leaders.
Mm-hmm.
So they bring an external person in to help their sales leaders, sales directors develop, because there isn't anybody in the business they can talk to because they're the only sales director in the business.
Yeah.
And I know business owners who have external business mentors who help them through, but it's processes like, what's the best way to manage my external HR when I don't have an HR team, or how can I engage with an accountant or a tax person?
Yeah.
So they're business mentors to help business owners, because business owners have got nowhere else to go.
Yeah. I think it's a good point you make, Neil. It's probably underutilized.
Yeah.
And it's probably, and not all the time, but it's probably not going to happen unless you ask for it.
That'd be brilliant.
Right? I mean, it might be there, but it's more likely that you say, please, can I have a mentor? Or by the way, you might have already spotted an individual. You might say, look, I'd really like to work with Neil. I've seen the way Neil's running his business. I've seen the way that people react to Neil as a leader. I'd like to learn something from that. You could go and knock on someone's door and say, do you mind being my mentor? You don't have to follow some HR process in your company, by the way. There might be a formal process, but there might not be. And by the way, there aren't too many leaders who care about people development who are going to say, go away, I haven't got time for you. Right?
And that's the point I want to make. And I make this regularly when I'm coaching people to go and find mentors, is find someone who you'd really love to be your mentor within your business and go and ask them.
Yeah.
And I will guarantee 100% of the time, they haven't said no.
Yeah.
Because people love to help other people. They love to be asked, because not enough people do it. Probably 5% of leaders actually go and ask, can I be mentored? So don't worry about asking people. And the same's true looking externally. If there's a business leader that you admire and you would like to learn from, go and ask them. Go and say, would you like to be? I was coaching someone you and I both know well, who ran his own business up in the northeast of England for many years before he sold it. And one of the coaching sessions I did with him was just that. He said, I'd really like to get a mentor who's growing a business similar to me. Well, who have you identified? Go and ask them. And he went and asked them, and guess what? They really wanted to help him, and it helped him get to a point where he sold his business.
Yeah. The only one that governed about how many people I mentored was my assistant. Used to go mad. I'll give her a mention here. The lovely Colette Windle, right? People used to walk out my office and she goes, "You've done it again, haven't you? You said yes, haven't you?"
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Yes, but it's 1 hour once a quarter. Come on, that has got to be good, right?"
And that's a good point, right? You've got to be respectful of the time, manage the time, and don't overdo the relationship.
Yeah.
So mentoring, if you're a leader within a business, or actually it's not just leadership, anyone in the business, you should be looking to find a mentor.
Yeah.
And because it helps the person who's mentoring you grow, and it helps you grow.
Yeah.
And whether that's inside the business or outside the business, go and find a mentor.
Absolutely.
So let's move on to coaching. So
yeah.
The difference between mentoring and coaching we talked about in the beginning. And both you and I have been coached and used coaches at some point in our career. And I've used the coach extensively over the last 4 years. But what would you say is the positive value and experiences you've had of coaching?
Probably the biggest thing would be